And speaking of trailers, we have one for probably one of the most anticipated projects coming from HBO with The Last of Us, produced by Craig Mazin of Chernobyl and Neil Druckmann, the director for both games.
Yeah. Which I played the first game. I was in the middle of the second game. I never beat the second game. Did you all beat the first and second game?
I didn't.
Yeah, I beat both games. I replay those a lot. I love those games. Even for like somebody that really isn't into gaming, both of those stories are so spectacular that even just watching somebody play along is still a very engrossing and engaging experience.
Koki, did you ever play the games?
I'm not a video game guy. I've heard of it. I've heard of other people. I know. I haven't. I was never a video game person. I guess maybe it was because my mother was kind of strict when it came to video games in my household, so I was just never. I never played it. I just watched my friends play next to me. So
damn.
Yeah.
She just wanted you to be a doctor or something, or what?
Well, she failed. Now I'm watching movies.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, doctor, lawyer, everything else. Yeah. So I'm considered a failure.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah, I could have been a doctor, but instead, I watched the monsters. And...
Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, you're saving people from watching the monsters. So in a way, you are like a doctor. In a way,
saving people from shitty movies.
You were doing God work, keeping people from watching shitty.
Yeah, watch it so you don't have to. Saving people from movie cancer.
Jesus.
But yeah, I did watch the cutscenes.
You watched? Okay, so you
incredible.
Yeah, which the game, The Last of Us game, is very cinematic. So you could watch all the cutscenes that people do a compilation of. They stitch them all together and make it just one long movie that you can watch on YouTube. And check it out. How did you like that?
I loved it. I heard it was I heard people kind of compare it to Logan, like the movie. I heard some fan casting about Hugh Jackman and Ellen Page were kind of Elliot Page, were kind of up to
Elliot.
But yeah, they couldn't. Obviously, they couldn't get him anymore. But yeah, I am excited for it. I did see the trailer. It's looks nice. When it does kind of look like I love the aesthetic of it, but it does kind of look like kind of like the paint by numbers zombie post-apocalyptic kind of story, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, except you have one of the best actors working right now taking
over. Oh yeah.
The role. So
the show one of the best actors, one of the best working actors today, along with a showrunner creator who made one of the greatest miniseries of at least the last 20 years.
With
Craig Mazin.
Was it? Yeah, Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, yeah.
Yeah, he went from The Hangover to Chernobyl. That's incredible.
Yeah, which just we announced the show.
Yeah, he's Nick is froze. Yeah. Hunter, go ahead. What's some of your thoughts on the trailer there?
Yeah. The trailer is absolutely incredible. The music is haunting. The score does a great job of giving you.
Okay, he's back.
Just pointing to the attention to detail just put into the trailer. The Hank Williams song that they used was featured in one of the original trailers for The Last of Us and was used heavily in the game as well.
Yeah, I'm glad they used somebody else other than Johnny Cash. They used the kind of another country singer instead of got in Hank Williams. Yeah, his son's kind of a failure, but that's okay.
I love Johnny Cash, but if I don't hear "Hurt" one more again in another trailer
that's been overused,
then I'll be fine.
But if you hear the 9 Inch Nails version, would that make it better?
Yeah. Yeah. Hunter, what were you saying about the trailer? You said you really liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The cinematography is just absolutely incredible, and there is a you feel bad. Like it's very similar to the first time I saw a trailer for The Walking Dead, and I went, "Oh wow, this feels different." And and I think unfairly that Walking Dead has just beaten any sort of joy of the zombie genre just kind of out of people because that show is still fucking going somehow. And I think people are just like, all right, no more. Like kind of similar to the Pirates movies, how people just went, all right, I'm done with Pirates for a while. Can we just not have it for a while? And now I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, I kind of want to have some more swashbuckling shit back. I've ignored The Walking Dead for long enough, so zombies feel new again. So like I was actually playing Left 4 Dead the other day. I was like, I miss zombies. Let's get some zombies back. So I'm excited for this. HBO really doesn't make bad shows too often, and with the pedigree and the people involved with this, I think this will be good at absolute worst. So I'm excited to see how this progresses. I haven't beaten the first game or the second game, so it'll be nice to kind of go in cold. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where they how this develops.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, the look of the show. Look, the show is really great. If you've played the game, you see the moments where it's like, oh, that's from the game. And also, you think like, well, what's the point of this necessarily? Since people play the game, and that game is already pretty much a cinematic experience. Yeah, money, obviously. Yeah, money's a big factor there. But for some,
money, and also just because the story of both games are so spectacular that it kind of feels like a handicap that there's a giant portion of an audience that is not going to experience it just because they have a stigma about video games.
Yeah, like Koki and Koki's mom. Yeah, so there you go. So that's a perfect example there.
I might show it to her.
Yeah, you should have her sit down and have her watch The Last of Us. Yeah. Does your mom, she like zombie stuff?
No. Funny thing is, she also, she was very strict when it came to television too. She banned me from watching Supernatural for a bit because she thought I was gonna, it was a violent show, so I get it, but
yeah,
it turned into a fucking demon anyway.
Well, yeah.
She thought she was gonna kind of put on a hoodie and a jacket and drive in an Impala and listen to Dad rock all day.
Oh, I already did that. She said that.
Oh, okay.
That was great.
Emo hair.
Yeah, emo hair. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do. I don't play a lot of video games, but I am kind of excited to see those turn into movies or TV shows because I like the aesthetic of them. But yeah.
Okay. I think I mean, like I said, it is for people who don't have a chance to play the game, get a chance for them to experience the story. It's just like, I guess, if a case of like somebody who like reads a book and then they go like, well, why would I ever necessarily want to see it adapted? I already read the book. But for millions of people who don't really get a chance to do that, then hey, it's a chance for them to really experience the story. And they show a version of the clicker here, which looks really good. I think they show kind of quick glimpse of their
HBO dropped some bennies on this movie.
Yeah. So I think
on this show, excuse me.
Okay, they're investing a lot,
and I think a huge part of that is just how heavily Neil Druckmann is involved in the development of the show, because he was the director on both Last of Us games, even the remake, which just speaking to something I'm cautious about when talking about the show is with Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson in both games, you have two of the greatest performances ever in a video game. Just the amount of pathos that is injected in both of their characters, the chemistry that is between the two of them, have a very tall order trying to create that with different actors. But Pedro Pascal is one of the great, and Bella Ramsey, who is playing Ellie in this, she she made a name for herself in Game of Thrones, which tangentially Lyanna Mormont and Ellie are sort of similar characters in that both are kind of like very headstrong youths. So I'm very excited for that. But the supporting cast is where I'm very excited for her. They brought back the actress who plays Marlene from the games. They have Nick Offerman playing Bill, who is one of the best characters in the game. They have Gabriel Luna, aka El Terminado, playing brother Tommy.
Yeah.
And on IMDb they have Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, but they don't have listed for them.
Yeah. Maybe hopefully they give them something good to do. Hopefully it won't be like what they did with Nolan North and Uncharted. Hopefully it won't be like kind of what they did there.
Yeah, you can charge your fucking stuff. You could charge your cell phone with the energy generated of me rolling my eyes at
Oh man, that was pretty bad what they did with him there in that movie. But hopefully do something good. And like Hunter said, I mean HBO, like what was like the last bad HBO show, like really terrible HBO show? Well, Game of Thrones during the last few seasons, maybe, but I mean maybe that.
When did that Sex and the City reboot come back? That was like last year, right?
Oh.
Was that last year?
just like that.
Just like that, yeah. Some big problems on
Just
that
like
set,
that,
apparently. But
just like that, and I'd argue season 2 of Euphoria.
Season 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen either season yet, so I've heard.
Okay.
I've heard.
Yeah. So, looking forward to it. When is this coming out? The Last of Us show?
Next year.
Next year.
Coming out next year. I don't think they have a premiere date yet.
No, they just said 2023.
Okay, 2023.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be better than the Resident Evil Netflix series. Fingers crossed.
I mean, you can't be worse.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's got my girl, the girl from Fringe. She's in this. Oh, okay. I like her. I used to love her when she was on Fringe.
Anna Torv playing Tess, who
Oh, right.
is
Anna Torv
from the game. Also Anna Torv, up girl.
Yeah. I used to love that show. Fringe. I used to love Fringe. Fringe was the best show that nobody was watching. Yeah, at one point. Yeah.
True. Fringe kicks so much.
That show nobody was watching, but miraculously got 4 seasons on Fox.
Yeah.
On fucking Fox.
Yeah. That was pretty nice. All right, moving on for The Last of Us teaser trailer. Going to discuss another trailer. One of the major reasons I wanted to have Hunter on for this and to discuss what possibly could happen. Big news came out, so Hugh Jackman's back. He's going to be Wolverine again, and he's going to be in Deadpool 3. So, Hunter, I'll let you kind of take this away. What do you think? What do you think is kind of going to happen in this with Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine?
I just love the nonchalantness of the actual announcement. It just Ryan, who's like one of the advertisers working today. It just like all of the B-roll of just him fucking around in that pool suit, and I have nothing.
I love all of his marketing strategies. Hugh
Jackman just walking in the background is like, "Hey, you want to play Wolverine again?" Is like, "Fine, sure."
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's okay. So, oh god, where do I want to start with this? So,
which the only way that ad could be improved is if Jackman wrote into the number, yeah, sure, whatever, from the after party. That's the only way you can improve.
Yeah. So first off, this is happening. Like, we have to just take a second to say this is fucking happening, because everyone was complaining and like, oh god, what are they gonna do with Deadpool in the MCU? They're gonna ruin Deadpool, blah blah blah. And
they're gonna make it fucking woke and feminine.
And the thing is, y'all, I don't know I'm speaking to nerds who are like the worst, but just learn to be patient, y'all. Like sometimes you just need to wait for shit, and the fact that we have a release date next year, September 24th, I think, next year. That's or 2 years, 2024. Pardon me. That kicks so much ass. So we're already on the clock. The fact that Hugh Jackman, and all due respect to Hugh Jackman, I'm a huge fan of his work, even independent of Wolverine. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. He's not he's not 30. But the fact he's willing to get into even some semblance of Wolverine shape, which, if you read his workout regimens that he was even doing for Logan and his diet even for Logan, it's like, god damn, that's just like oh man, you even look at a donut, someone's like slapping your hand, like that's gotta fucking suck. But the fact he's willing to get back in the saddle, I think Hugh Jackman, he's talked about it for years, the last couple years especially, how he's like, I always want to be involved in the MCU, even if it's just one time. And like he kept saying that, and he kept saying it, and I was like, I think it's gonna happen. And people kind of started going like, oh, we've moved on, it's not gonna happen. And now here we are. We'll probably get some semblance of like a road trip movie, which is what I think, which is what I do, honestly. Villain wise, not really sure. You could do Mr. Sinister. That would kind of make sense. That would be an easy one to do. But I'm not really sure where they're gonna go with this, and that's actually very nice to not know exactly where they're gonna take this, because this is gonna be phase 6 of the MCU, which, my god, we're gonna be on phase fucking 6. But I mean, does Tom Holland show up? And I'm just throwing that out there because Deadpool and Spider-Man do have a very complex friendship in the comics. Deadpool and Holland will be a little older then, so it won't come across nearly as creepy as it would have back in Homecoming. So I mean, does Holland show up? I mean, it's just gonna be interesting to see how with She-Hulk, how she breaks the fourth wall. She did it first, by the way. Shut the fuck up. How they're gonna incorporate his style into the MCU, because Feige's been saying it's gonna be rated R, and if we do get a rated R Deadpool MCU movie, that'll kick so much ass. So I'm just happy Hugh Jackman's back, but they could take this so many different avenues. So
Nick?
Again, even when Hugh Jackman was cast as Wolf, it's like internet, if it exists on the level it did back then, it would have exploded. It's like Wolverine's be like this smelly, disgusting little monster. But Hugh Jackman embodied that character so well. He's one of the greatest comic book movie castings of all time. And just one of the greatest runs of a character. And just going back to Logan, just a little bit of the tragedy that he didn't get to interact with characters like Deadpool, like being in the MCU proper. And now we get it. It's like wish fulfillment on the greatest level ever. And just the amount of room that Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds have to work with Deadpool 3 being, again, in the MCU proper, being, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but being R-rated, if they, have balls to go through with it opens up so many more possibilities. And it opens up so much more with other characters in the MCU. It's like, are we actually going to do some rated besides Deadpool? Does that open the door for Blade? Does that open up the door for characters like Ghost Rider coming?
Yeah. Andrew, he's in the chat. Hey, how's it going there, Andrew? He's streaming. He's a new streamer. If you want to show us some love, that'd be very much appreciated. Thank you for stopping by. Andrew, he had a theory. He said Blade will be R-rated after they find a new director if Deadpool does good. Blade is scheduled after Deadpool, right? or before?
No, the Blade is supposed to come out.
Dead Blade.
Yeah, Blade was supposed to come out like within the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now here's what you could do. You could potentially push Armor Wars up since they're not developing that as a movie, and push Blade back after Deadpool, because Deadpool and Blade do have history in the comics too. So I mean, you could do a Blade cameo. So that is one thing I will say. I think Blade being in his movie won't be the first time we see Mahershala. We'll see him at some point before that. But if you wanted to put Blade and Deadpool in Phase 6, I wouldn't be mad at that. If you want to push Armor Wars up, could do that.
Yeah. Koki, what's some of your thoughts there?
Yeah, I am so, first of all, I am so glad that Hugh Jackman is back. He's almost in the 60s, right? He's like 55 right now, I believe.
53? 53?
53,
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
Check this IMDb. He was born in 1968, so it was mid 50s, early 50s. So yeah, I'm just so glad that he's back, because I really did think that, after Hugh Jackman, he was commenting on how it was incredibly hard at his age to prepare for the role and get into physical shape. I'm just so glad, this announcement was made, and it really made sense that he is going to be in Deadpool 3, because it was kind of a running gag in the first two Deadpools about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, overshadowing him, and he took my death. I could have had an incredible death, and there's the whole Wolverine origins gag. So it only made sense for him.
The initial lines in Deadpool 2. Fuck Wolverine. First he piggybacks off my parade, and then he the gall to die in his last movie.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing I'm a little concerned is that the director is Sean Levy, who he's made some okay films, depending on what you think of Free Guy and the Adam Project. Yeah, so I guess him and Ryan Reynolds are buddy right now, which is why he's probably going to be doing this. But yeah.
I love Free Guy, and I really like it. But I think the huge part of what got him the directing gig was a lot of his work on Stranger Things, and how he kind of danced that line of a little bit tinges of horror. So he's not afraid to fuck people up in one of his projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done an R-rated movie. He's done a lot of kid-friendly movies, sort of say.
Yeah, it's like the most hardcore thing he's done is probably Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
He directed Night at the Museum and Night at the Museum Battle of the Smithsonian. Thank you very much.
So he's done a lot of kid-friendly stuff. So even Free Guy, and it was about video games, and Adam Project involved the kids. So yeah. He's more family-friendly oriented. So I wonder what he's going to do with this. I was looking up IMDb as you guys were talking about it. I saw that Simon Kinberg had a producer credit, and Kevin Feige was nowhere to be seen. So I wonder if some of the previous Fox, tie-ins are still going on. So, and Fox notoriously has a lot of production problems that gets reported, especially for their superhero properties. So I hope this goes smoothly, and it has a really nice time with the MCU, and it maybe reconsider the MCU going in a direction where you can get a lot of their R-rated properties going on. I hope,
Papa Feige's got this. I ain't worried. Papa Feige just step in.
Papa Feige has a lot of producer credits, so he's a busy boy.
The man has kept this ship sailing mostly on a positive trait for like the last 12 years. So
I think Feige is very aware of the fact that with all the anticipation for that. So same thing with Blade. I would rather have them delay shit than rush the shit out. Like if you're gonna delay Blade for a year or so,
delay it and make it good rather than rush the project.
Exactly. So the fact we have 2 years for Deadpool, that's great. Like I'm happy about that. I'm happy they'll actually have time to finish the script and actually fine tune and all that shit.
Mm.
I believe they have a couple writers from Bob's Burgers helping on the script, which makes me happy.
Does Kevin Feige, does he just sit and watch Animation Domination lineup or something, and then he just like, oh, I got a new writer? He's like, oh, I like this.
I mean, imagine he's a big network TV guy. I mean, the paintball episodes of Community are what got the Russo brothers in the MCU.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so Feige's been very great at picking the right people to handle this shit. Like even if they're unknowns. So I'm really not worried about this. I'm more, how do I put this? I'm more worried about how much of Deadpool do we actually get? Like in the sense of, do we get the fourth wall break still? Can you do the fourth wall breaks and still set up MCU shit? Like She-Hulk is proving you can. Can you do that with Deadpool? So yeah, it'll be interesting, but yeah, we'll probably have multiple X-Men or mutants introduced by then too. So
you think Colossus will be in it?
I mean, you're also getting an MCU budget, so they can actually afford to splurge on some X-Men, unlike the fucking two movies.
Right. Yeah.
With this announcement, obviously it's a big announcement. Him coming back, Hugh Jackman's willing, to kind of come back and play this role, get in that insane shape to be Wolverine again. And him and Patrick Stewart have kind of the record for playing a comic book character the longest. They've played it for now multiple decades now, which is kind of something.
21 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's ridiculous. I share a lot of Koki's concern with the director, Sean Levy. When you look at his filmography, it's a whole lot of mid. I like stuff like the Adam Project, Free Guy, the 90 Museum movies. He did do that movie where he did with Hugh Jackman. So he's got a Hugh Jackman connection because he did Real Steel with him there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Love Real Steel.
I like Real Steel.
Yeah, I like Real Steel, too.
Yeah, so I've never been that excited about any of his movies. I just kind of watch them and go, this was okay. It's fine. Free Guy I wasn't really a big fan of. I think that was on my worst of list when that came out. So, yeah.
I envy you that was on your worst of.
So that doesn't really excite me and too much. But I do like the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and between Ryan Reynolds. They work really extremely well together.
The beef where they both did commercials for their respective drink companies is one of the
I saw that.
Ryan Reynolds does this fucking elaborate ad for Laughing Man Coffee, and Hugh Jackman just does. Ryan Reynolds is a bleep. Gin's great, by the way. And just pours it out.
So one thing I will give Sean Levy credit for. Guy's worked his way up from doing, fucking Lassie and Famous Jet Jackson. Great show, by the way. Big Fat Liar and fucking Pink Panther to doing.
Big Fat Liar is awesome.
Oh no, it is. I agree, but that's a movie a lot of people don't know about. But he goes through all that shit. Does Date Night and Real Steel, yay, Internship and. This is where I leave you, like Josh isn't wrong. That's the thing. Like I like a lot of his stuff, but there's definitely mid, like scattered, like paprika all over the shit. All over.
Yeah, he was more of a hired studio director.
As much as I like a lot of Sean Levy's film, whenever I see his name in the director list, I'm not. Oh, great. I'm not like, ooh, I see this next movie. I'm just like, oh, he's behind it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're more surprised than anything. But like since 2014, because the Night of the Museum movies, especially the final one, is shockingly good. And that's kind of been almost his calling card, is you're like, oh, I'm surprised at how much I like that. And so that's not really the mark of a great director most of the time. So hopefully he's kind of more on this upswing. So and like I said, I enjoy the hell out of Free Guy. That just missed my top 10, and Adam Project I really enjoyed so far this year. But not everyone's made to direct a comic book film. Like it is a different breed, so ask Gavin Hood about that shit. So, so I mean, hopefully it's good, but this is Reynolds' guy, and I think they're gonna let Reynolds have a lot more say on
his baby,
better or worse. Yeah.
It's like the most I can say. Knock on wood.
Yeah. And do you all think that it doesn't do anything for you that you thought that Logan was maybe his final performance? You don't care about that, like you just happy to see him back?
No, I don't give a shit. It's like you still have that amazing performance.
I mean, the X-Men continuity has been all over the place. So to jump in, so
come on, and honestly, comic books do this shit all the time, where it's like, it's actually more surprising when characters stay dead. How many times has Batman died? Give me a fucking break. Like everyone going like, oh my god, how dare they bring Logan back? Now.
I have not heard anyone who said that. So
they're out there. Trust me.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, they are. What I will say is, if Hugh Jackman is back, hopefully Deadpool 3 is not the first time we see him. Can I get that? Can I get that Wolverine Hulk fight? Can I get that, Mr. Feige? Please.
But Hulk's not the same guy anymore. He's evolved.
Well, you can find a way. Damn it.
I hope so.
Give me that shit. But yeah, it should be fun at worst.
Yeah. And I like the trailer they did where they explain like, hey, I know you got a lot of questions, and they came out and I like that. That was also kind of funny. There. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I mean, you saw Professor X die 3 times, so.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, Wanda snapped his neck good. Jeez, just came out, just bam.
So sad.
Let's see. Andrew said Wolverine will be back in She-Hulk. Kidding, they probably won't do that. Andrew also said Big Fat Liar actually has an interesting fact. John Cho basically confirmed that they wrote him as a director with a stereotypical accent. John basically said he wasn't going to do that and declined the part. Apparently, the director reached out and heard John out. John felt the accent wasn't necessary, so they decided to let him do it without the accent. He told this story on Tiger Belly.
Interesting.
Huh. Nice. Andrew also said Real Steel equals Rocky with robots. Yeah, it's pretty much Rocky.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
There would be a lot better films if they just replaced with robots from Muppets. Like remake Schindler's List, both Muppets. I'd watch that.
Andrew also mentioned Community straight up had a multiverse episode and arc. Yeah.
Yep.
And he also said, for you guys, cool. Well, when it's in the video game, I think the live action parts are the weakest segments, but the video game segments are great. I actually think the human segments for me, well, the stuff without Taika Waititi was good. Like the stuff where it was kind of like Jodie Comer and the dude from Stranger Things, I think it was okay. But with everything with Taika Waititi, it was terrible. I thought that shit was awful.
Oh my god!
See, I love the Taika stuff because look at the lawsuits at Activision and all that, and Blizzard makes total sense that he'd be a total piece of shit like that. Like I actually buy into that more, looking at these scandals. But I think Free Guy, how do I put this? Free Guy getting a sequel, because apparently they are doing a sequel, and the moment I saw those box office numbers, I went, they're doing a sequel. Shit, it doesn't matter. Feels unnecessary. Doesn't really feel like we need another one, but nothing's sacred, so
yeah.
I feel like Sean Levy is like one of those, like one for them. What do you say? Like one for the studio and one for me. Yeah. He kind of does a lot of those. He's kind of more of a studio, I guess not everybody could be like Christopher Nolan and just walk into the studio and make what they want. He's one of those guys that haven't. kind of has to, work his way up, do some directing gigs. So maybe that's why, his filmography is kind of like, iffy. But I feel like, he kind of has a relationship with the studios because of that. So I feel like, he's one of those directors that he can, he can do a lot.
Yeah,
he has a lot of connections.
And Sean Levy, he's the guy that made a big hit like during the pandemic for Fox with Free Guy, and he has a relationship with both of the like main stars of Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. So I imagine that goes a long way with after the post Fox Disney merger.
All right, we're gonna move on to another story.